I don't really know how we start this show. How do we?
Well, kind of general intro. We say hello, caller. Give us a
Okay.
call.
Yep. Yep.
We're here with Zach and Zav. As you can see, there's the phone number. We like to do the internet the old-fashioned way. We'll make a new motto every time. How's that?
That sounds good. And maybe one day we'll have something like music or something that goes underneath.
Yes.
I was thinking that would be nice to have some like music that's there the whole time. Like
Yeah.
doo, 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 doo,
Yeah,
doo.
just
something
softly.
Danya, like that Danya
Yeah,
type
yeah.
of thing. Do you think she
An
could do
Art
that for
Bell
us?
type thing? Oh, of course. Yeah.
Art Bell?
An Art Bell, you know, the
Oh, does he have some sort of? Yeah. Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah. We'll definitely have something of that sort. You were saying the other day that something that Elmo really likes. I don't want to say his name too loudly. He'll come over here, but that he really likes is eating Jello directly out of the packet, letting the powder just kind of fall into your mouth directly. And I was thinking, as a topic, any odd food combos that
Right.
that are happening out
Not
there,
including combos.
not including combos. Which
No,
would
you
be-
can include combos. Sorry.
if it's involved in a combo itself.
Your key?
But yeah, call us in 935-2951. Let us know if you do have any odd food combinations that perhaps are off the radar that we can put on our radar here. So yeah, we're exploring that. Do you have any odd food combinations through the years? Well, we know about you. We know about your
Okay,
food.
Elmo, what is a good food combination?
What do you got?
Let's see. I have your wife
Okay. And what?
and your regular ass old ass grandma. Okay.
Oh my.
That
I'm
was
done.
okay.
That was pretty good. What was the last thing that he said? I didn't catch that.
He said that it was my wife and my raggedy ass old ass grandma.
As a food combo. That
Yeah, I
was
don't
pretty
know.
good, Elmo. I enjoyed that one.
Almost pretty good at just coming up with stuff.
Yeah, I can tell there's a lot of creativity there. Do you have anything that you can think of off the top of your head? Any odd combinations?
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
I
what
used to put potato chips on sandwiches, but I think that's pretty common. Oh, we got a call here on Hello
okay.
Caller.
Um,
Zav,
should I field this one?
take this one, Zav. Take it.
Hello, caller.
Hello, answerer.
So do you have any odd food combinations?
I don't at all. I was actually hoping that you could tell me what to eat because I'm sick of eating fish and ground turkey. That's all I eat.
He says
Yeah.
the caller said that he eats fish and ground turkey. He's hoping we could tell him, give him some other things to eat.
Some
Yeah,
other
what do I do with
ideas?
ground turkey besides
Oh.
make tacos with it?
What can you do with ground turkey besides tacos?
That's a good question. One of the things I've heard people doing, you make a nice bread crust and you fill it in there. Meat pies were popular for a while. You get those minced meat pies. You don't hear a lot about those lately. Maybe we'll post some links for some meat pies at the end of the show.
Maybe a spaghetti sauce?
That's a good one.
Spaghetti.
Yeah.
Spaghetti with some meat.
Yeah, if you make just make a marinara sauce and then add the turkey to it.
Well, that sounds like a meat sauce, right?
Oh, I never thought of turkey to marinara. That's pretty
Why
good.
not?
I guess we could give that a shot.
Mayonnaise? Do you kind of like?
Oh, gross. Oh, don't do that.
Oh, okay. Because I was gonna say you could do something kind of like a tuna fish sandwich, but make it turkey. Some
That's not
chopped
bad.
onions and chopped garlic,
Brown
This is
turkey?
surprising.
and a little bit of paprika.
Interesting.
Actually, that sounds great. I never
That
thought of
texture
that.
sounds not too hot for my liking.
Right. Yeah, it would be kind of like spam or something.
I've never delved into that. What does spam taste like? Are you familiar?
What does spam taste like, Zach?
Spam is really salty. It's kind of mealy, soft. Some people go for it. I've heard that Spam has had kind of a resurgence because once all the young people started wearing the ironic Spam T-shirts, people started eating Spam ironically, and then it actually honestly did increase in sales. It became funny to buy Spam. Spam is interesting too because it's a food of the Cold War. You had a lot of people that were stocking up, buying lots of cheap things, keeping them in the basement. Spam seemed to keep well. So maybe spam
what
is a
is
sort of
spam
a
exactly?
weird symbol of the Cold War.
He's asking what is it exactly.
What? Oh, what is it? I'm sorry.
No, he asked what it tastes like too.
Oh, that was what it tastes like. It tastes like the Cold War, but it actually, what is spam? It's a composite of meats, mostly pig meat, mostly ham.
Oh, right, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a ham in a can, and it's like military. It's kind of like
Yeah, it's military food, right?
Yeah, that
Sure,
sort of became part of the civilian world.
right.
Ah, yes, and it's derived. This name spam is derived from spiced ham, so it's basically just spiced up ham.
Yeah. So yeah. Other things, I would stay away from so much meat. That's what I would do. I'd go, look into the vegetables a little more.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I do basic carrot, celery.
He does
some of that
basic
stuff,
carrot,
but
celery.
protein wise.
Oh, you're just talking proteins.
Yeah, how do I get some protein? Something special, something a little out there.
Well, you know what I like is if you make a African style peanut stew. That's a nice protein.
Oh yeah.
It's you use peanut butter and yams like sweet potatoes and cook that with onions and broth, salt, things like that.
Sweet potatoes. That's the miracle vegetable, right?
Yeah, it's really inexpensive and really good for you at the same time. And then if you add peanut butter to that stew, it makes a really good African stew. You could eat it over rice, or if you water it down, you can eat it straight as a soup.
Interesting. Is it spicy? Is it supposed to be spicy?
You can spice
Why?
it up. Yeah,
Yeah,
you can
like
definitely
Spice it up.
Do you know why?
Some hot sauce in
Asian
there.
stuff. Whenever they throw
Put
the
it in
word
anything.
peanuts in something, it's automatically spicy for some reason.
Oh, he's saying that whenever Asian food uses peanuts, it's also spicy. I would agree with you, except there are some Chinese desserts that contain peanuts and they're sweet
Ah,
and not
all right.
spicy.
Yeah, check back on that one.
Yeah.
Check that one. We don't want to get any stereotypes going about Chinese food here. It's the last thing we need.
Yeah.
We
Well,
don't need our
I
sponsors
worse
jumping
things
down our
could happen.
throats.
Yeah, I don't know, stereotypes about some other more sensitive group
Yeah.
people.
Well, Zav, do you still do that thing where you're every day of the week you have a different diet? Like you're a vegetarian one day, a vegan the next. For our listeners who don't know, Zav has done a diet where every day he's of the week he's a different thing. You fast one day, right? You eat
Yeah.
meat. How does that?
Well, I can tell you the diet, but I actually haven't been doing it.
Oh,
I've been close, but not. I've been basically just vegetarian generally,
Yeah.
and then occasionally, if I accidentally get meat into my meal, I don't like.
What's the-
I don't get all upset about it. It's well, Monday is vegan. I eat vegan. Then Tuesday through Thursday, I eat vegetarian. Friday, I eat fish. Saturday, I can eat anything, so I'll eat
Wow.
anything that there is, and then anything I feel like eating. And then Sunday, I fast, and then Monday, I start over being vegan again.
Don't
Wow.
eat anything? You drink fluids or liquids?
He's asking if I don't eat anything. I kind of bend the rules a little. It depends on how I feel, but usually I'll have like a little bit of broth or a little bit of I'll go out to dinner and I'll just get broth instead of like soup with vegetables in it
Wow.
or something, and then maybe I'll eat some peanuts. I tend to get I'm fine until like about late at night, and then I start getting really peckish and need food. And I also always drink for some reason. I don't know why, but I always drink. Well, this is true generally speaking. I drink 2 drinks a day. So even when I fast, I often will have 2 beers at the end of the day. But yeah, I try not to eat anything.
that's quite
Yeah,
balanced.
I would do that, except
He says he would do
I
it.
heard fasting is pretty good for you on occasion, but
Yeah.
I like that goes to your head, you know. Don't you get a little woozy? And I work with
Yeah.
pretty dangerous equipment where I could be chopping off fingers and stuff.
Right.
So
He's
Wow.
saying that
Fasting in my
he
future.
would do it, but he would. Well, you work on Sunday.
oh, not on Sundays. No.
Yeah. It's a good thing, but it's a bad thing at the same time. It doesn't make me lose weight or anything like that. And actually, I kind of the reason I'm vegan the next day is that way. If I get really, really hungry and want to eat a bunch of stuff, if I'm vegan, I can't eat too
You don't
much
care
bad
about what
stuff.
you're eating too. You're like, I'm gonna eat this turnip just right now, because you're
Yeah,
hungry,
when
right?
you get really hungry, you do like I'll get really hungry and come home, and I'll start eating spices from
Sure.
the spice rack.
That's wow.
Yeah, sometimes I'll just eat like a little pinch of some cumin or a pinch of sesame seeds, things like that from my spice rack.
You ever put that on anything odd?
And then does your mind like create a visual of what kind of meal you're eating, or is it
He's asking
just,
if my mind creates a
just-
vision. Well, that's one of the great things about fasting is that everything has like your taste sensory just goes up. So like water is
Through
like
the roof.
bread.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you really appreciate food a lot more when you're fasting. But fasting for one day is kind of weird. I don't think I wouldn't really recommend it. I think it's best to like fast for maybe like 3 days once a month or something, or 3 days once every quarter. That's a better way to fast, I think. But I just kind of came up with that as a tradition for a while, but I don't do it as much anymore. I kind of don't fast because it made me a little crazy, and I would actually sort of lose a day because I was so hungry all day. It's kind of like having the flu or something. You just
Yeah.
can't do much. I don't have much energy.
Yeah. That's problematic.
I can put that out. Hey, I was wondering if you could ask Zach a question. There was a
He wants to
band
ask you a
from
question.
Sure.
Minnesota,
There was a what?
Minneapolis. There's a band from Minneapolis that played at quarters with a
Oh,
violin.
There was a
wondering if
band
you
from
knew the name.
Minneapolis that played at quarters with violin.
Oh yeah, right. Mother of Fire. They were real great. They did a Black Sabbath cover. Kids loved it. Went nuts.
Mother
Went
of Fire,
absolutely
was that?
off the wall.
Yeah, he said it was Mother of Fire.
They were great.
All right. Yeah, it's kind of hard to hear him on this.
Who's our caller today?
Oh, you don't hear him so well on your end?
No, not at all. He's definitely background.
Oh, can you hear me? Hello. Hello,
Oh, wait.
caller.
Are you? But I'm saying, you don't hear him on the radio, or you don't hear him on your phone.
Oh,
Yeah, hello.
see, if I'm talking now, I can
Yes.
hear you fine. But then there's this huge delay if I'm listening to it on the internet.
Oh, right. Yeah, there's a huge delay. That's right. There is. It's
Oh, it's really long.
like a 4-second delay. Yeah.
But I'm coming through loud and clear, caller. Hello.
Oh, hey, yeah, I can kind
Yeah.
of.
Oh, we've got a big delay here. Well, that's kind of funny. We didn't know that at all because we're doing the internet the old-fashioned way.
Right.
Yeah. But I liked his idea earlier about having some beverages and having a loose little free-form.
Oh, he likes your idea of getting drunk. Or no, you said having beverages and a loose freeform show.
Yeah, but we also critiqued that idea very quickly afterward in case you missed that caller. We realized there's probably a lot of art scene stuff like that. Hey, what's going on? We've got Kathy from Downtown Gallery. She's going to be up here in about 10 minutes, and we're just going to ask each other how we're doing. I don't know. I don't know. And then there's a bunch of plugs, and, we're not looking for that. We're trying to do some breakthrough radio here, so we're going to stick to a nice, tight structure.
Wait, say the thing you just said, caller, again.
Oh, I was just saying, you want to stick to a tight structure, you said?
He's asking if we want to stick to a tight structure.
We don't want to, but we feel that it's best for society.
Right.
Well, I mean,
Or, well,
one-
I guess I would love to have a show that has merit beyond like the moment, but that actually, when you listen to it in 20 years or something, it's like, oh, that was pretty well, it still holds water or something.
Well, you've got to have fun.
Definitely,
Like
yeah.
Gertrude Stein said, everyone knows that everything that has meaningful is because it's amusing. So that it has to be, because if you want to go back to something, it has to be enjoyable. So hopefully the calm, soothing tones of our voice are enjoyable. And our topics with the subject matter that we're talking
Yeah.
about.
Yeah, I could could see that
We're
being
very
nice. At the
sincere.
same
You can't see our
time,
faces right now, but if you could see our
one-on-one thing
faces, we
where
have the most
anything can
sincere
happen
look
is also
you could possibly
very nice
imagine
in
on
the
them.
moment discussion, I guess.
Yeah, there's this problem where Zach doesn't know you're talking when you're talking. What was the last thing you said?
What did I just say? Oh yeah, well, it's also just nice to have
It's always
this
also
going on. We're taking the callers where you can. It's just two people talking. You don't know what's coming next.
Oh yeah,
also
okay.
Well-
So
mixing
he's
it up
saying
with
it's also
that
you're
interview.
you're saying it's also kind of nice. Just the off the cuff thing is
Sure.
kind of nice.
We're just hanging out with you.
Yeah, that's the whole point, and I appreciate that. The hello
Yeah.
caller, hello listener. Guys.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. He
Yes.
says he appreciates the whole hello caller, hello listener thing.
Yeah, and it is hello listener. It is.
Yeah,
Who are we talking with today?
yeah. Who are we talking with?
Oh, this is Nick. I went to that show with Zach.
This is
about
Nick. He
that-
went
that
to a
Mother
show
of
with you.
Fires.
Oh, Nick. We don't reveal last names on Hello Caller, so Nick. Great.
Thanks
for calling in.
Yeah, thanks for
We're gonna
calling.
move on.
Okay. Talk to you soon.
Nick's a nice kid. I know Nick a little bit. Nice guy, talented guy.
So, yeah,
Where were we?
where were we before we got a call?
Oh yeah,
We're
I
like
wonder
this.
if it'll become
we're
a
like a call-in
situation where the
show
calls
we get-
become
where
annoying.
we get kind of like thrown off by the callers.
No, that's all
on
right. That
Hello
was
Caller.
good. I believe you were looking for an interview, some kind of interview.
Oh, I
that we were
was.
going
Well,
to
I found
conduct.
it.
Oh, you did.
Yeah,
Should we try to conduct this interview?
yeah.
Okay. This is a rare interview.
Zach Pieper seems to be into transportation metaphors a lot nowadays. It's been rumored that when Paul Schrader sidled up to him recently at a film festival and said, "I think you should know that I took something of yours from The Married Woman and put it in American Gigolo,"
Yeah.
the master coolly replied,
Yeah.
you coolly replied, "What's important isn't what you take, it's where you take it to." Every Man for Himself. Zach Pieper's first movie to open in America and show at the New York Film Festival in 8 years is, first of all, a vehicle designed to bring him back to us. It has all the ingredients that mainstream critics have been clamoring for. Stars Isabelle Huppert, Jacques Dutronc, clearly defined characters and plot, lush music, beautiful 35 millimeter photography, flaky eroticism, humor. I'm really making my landing on the earth of story, Pieper tells me at one point, like a plane. Can it be sheer coincidence that he seems to take up prostitution as a theme only when he's working in 35 millimeter? After a prostitute in his new film, Huppert, turns a trick with a character named Paul Pieper,
Oh.
and that's played by Dutronc.
Oh, right.
She's mauled by some thugs, told and forced to repeat that no one is independent. This makes me think that of Pieper's own predicament as a filmmaker, including the fact that most of his 70s movies are still unreleased here, although the 5-year-old Numéro 2 will be surfacing in a few months. It's the first thing I asked him about after we climb into the back of the limousine, taking us through the late afternoon traffic from Midtown screening room to the LaGuardia airport. So my first question is, does this parallel seem relevant to you?
Yeah, I mean, I like to think of, well, to the LaGuardia airport. You mean what you just said, obviously. So the LaGuardia airport is definitely a strong parallel. I would say that in all of my films, what I've been looking to do is try to give the feeling of when you leave an airport. I want that feeling of relief, as though you're relieved from being there, and it's not an overt pain. It's kind of a banality, which is a little bit more difficult to detect, a little more subtle.
I suppose that the previous film of yours that Every Man for Himself most reminds me of is 2 or 3 things I know about her. But one thing that sharply distinguishes it from most of your earlier work is its rejection of Paris. The fact that it's
Yes.
all set in your native Switzerland.
Right. Well, one of the things that I do is I work where I am, because I find it's easier to work where I am than where I'm not. Because I find often, then you got to deal with a lot of costs. You're going way over budget when you're trying to work somewhere where you're not. So I just try to do it where I am.
Could you describe the programs that you've done for French TV?
Okay, well, one of the first ones is called My T-Shirt, and what it is we have a wall where everyone puts up their T-shirts on the wall, and we just kind of scan around the T-shirts, talk about them. The other program that I've been doing is a very interesting sort of serial comedy called Unborn Again, which is about a homosexual vampire who lives in Paris who is attempting to bribe a French consulate.
There's a caller on the line, but I'm going to get through this interview first, and then
Sure.
we'll take a call.
Sure, let's keep hang in there, caller.
There's been a strong sense of your absence as a critic.
Yeah, that's common. I get that one a lot. Yeah.
I find it impossible.
Well, I think that my works are criticism. I mean, I don't know how that could be more obvious that my work itself is a piece of criticism. Art supersedes criticism when what you're doing is where you are and what you're thinking about.
What else has What else has Pieper been doing lately? Giving lectures in Montreal on the history of film that have been transcribed and recently published in France, producing the 300th issue of Cahiers du Cinéma, which contains letters to friends and acquaintances. Quote, no one answered, not even friends. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Fragments of an interview, diverse collages of words and images, moving places, interviewing Chantal Ackerman for the magazine Ça, inviting Jacques Tati to play a small part in Every Man for Himself. He refused. Inviting Marguerite Duras to play a small part. She accepted but insisted on remaining out of camera range, letting only her voice be heard. In short, trying to work with other people. You said, I'm trying to do something with other directors whom I respect. I'm trying to learn my job, which I find impossible.
I'm trying to learn my job.
Yeah, it's my problem, you say.
Yes.
But I'm trying to say it's our problem.
Yeah.
Trying to communicate. If there was a true film magazine, it would help people to communicate the way that scientists do. That's why science is so strong. Whether it's in the Pentagon or wherever, the Tokyo scientist is working with the San Francisco scientists. They send letters back and forth. But today, people seem less interested in films and more interested in filmmakers. The groupie syndrome.
The groupie syndrome is a very prevalent problem in the States as well as here in Switzerland. And I remember when I did invite Jacques from Sa to come, that one of the things that we talked about was this problem, that there seems to be a holding up of the iconoclast. Everyone's striving to be the iconoclast. No one wants to engage any serious social critique in their work, any serious sense of social debate even. Of course, everything seems to be a game of styles, and as we all know, the tight T-shirts from my programs look very good on the groupies.
Have you had any exposure to the Rocky Horror Picture Show cult?
I remember in the late 70s, I was in Germany, and I had a very difficult time because people kept mistaking me for the actress. Oh, I'm sorry, that was an actor, wasn't it? I had a lot of problems there. People were mistaking me, and there's actually a funny anecdote about the Rocky Horror Picture Show. I was in the 70s attempting to get Is that another one? I was attempting to get some of the distribution that Rocky Horror Picture, some of the alternate distribution routes that were starting to happen in the late 70s, and I was completely steamrolled by them. They were overwhelmed with a desire to get more prints in. It was a very popular film, so we didn't get to distribute a lot of things in the States I would have liked.
So that people should use you to get certain places and then get off?
Not exactly. It's more as though people should use each other to help me.
Why did you include that detail? Sorry.
Good.
Why did you include that detail?
Well, I included it because I felt as though... Let's take a call. I'm losing it. That was a good round, though.
Yeah. Oh, you answered the questions bravely.
Oh, wait. Did the call go away now?
Yeah, but
We lost
they'll
them.
call back, I'm sure.
Okay, we will invite our caller to call back.
Yeah.
That was an intense interview for me.
Yeah.
That was a pretty...
Well, maybe you can interview me in a little while.
Yeah, let's do that, please.
It's 12:46 in Milwaukee and River West. It's raining outside. It's really coming down out there.
Yeah, it is.
I would say definitely bring your umbrella if you're going outside, but you could probably figure that out yourself. But it's I like weather. I like when the
Weather's
weather is
nice.
different. So I'm enjoying it.
I wonder why so many things start with weather. Like, for example, weather is always necessary in reports, and it's very common for everything starts with a description, like novels. It usually includes the weather. Why is that so important that everything starts with weather?
I think weather is one of the things that one can talk about that is ubiquitous, that everyone experiences, and yet it doesn't get into the realm of religion or philosophy or politics.
No.
Because people always say never talk, like one of those golden rules, which I hate. It's like one of the most horrible golden
Never talk about religion.
Never talk about religion and politics with people.
Right.
And then also the other one is talk about the weather. It's like
Yeah,
this
just talk
when you have nothing to talk about, you talk about the weather.
The weather, right.
And that's what we're doing.
It is exactly what we're doing. Sure is coming down.
No,
out
but we
there.
have a lot to talk about, actually.
No, we do.
We're actually very talkative people.
We are. It's odd, though. As soon as we got done with that interview, which was pretty intense, I completely forgot everything because it was actually quite challenging doing that for some reason. I was going to... I don't know. I was hoping that maybe we get some callers because I wanted to make some pitches for ideas for segments on the show for future shows.
Oh, cool.
See if they liked it or had any ideas that anything we could do for them on the program. I mean, it's 4:00 on Thursday. I think it's a pretty opportune time. People are coming home from work if they have a job. If they don't have a job, I don't want to discriminate against anyone. If they don't have a job, they could just call us and let us know what they'd like to see happening here in the window of River West Film and Video. We are also on the same time as Mark Belling, who is quite a presence on the radio right now. I think we are.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it is. We're competitors. Actually, we're not competitors at all, really. We're on the internet right now. Do you know anything about the post office, like the history of the post office?
I don't know a whole lot about it, but Chomsky refers to the postal system, the worldwide postal system, as an anarchist structure.
I was thinking about that because, it would be nice to also have a show devised, much like the post office, to have where we could create maybe some propositions for a new bartering system or a new system of bartering, or perhaps even, talk about the problematics of creating bartering systems, like maybe an alternate horror future where everyone owes someone or something else for all their actions. Like if we were to evolve too far in the sense of usury or worth, monetary material worth, perhaps favors would be exchanged in such a culture, and then also perhaps this would create a new anxiety because there's no definitive idea of when you've paid someone fairly as a compensation for their service. So say someone shovels your driveway, and it was really hard and it was really snowy, and like you can do them a favor, and the only favor you can do them in return is like, I don't know, give them a watch or something. I mean, is that fair? I mean, is this
Okay, well,
How do you
I
have-
guess I'm a little confused about the where you're headed with. Are you talking about the postal service or about like a barter economy?
No, I was talking about you. I mentioned the post office because I was interested in thinking about the history of the post office, and I was interested in thinking about it in the sense that it seems to be something very positive. It's
Yeah.
a very positive, good thing. And you just mentioned the Chomsky quote, and that oddly
Yeah.
correlated to what I was thinking about was having a show possibly in the future or now where we talk about systems of bartering and some of the problematics that could create.
Right.
For example,
Well, people talk about how money is, the root of all evil and things like that. But,
right?
money does have certain qualities that I think are
Right.
really kind of special, and
Yeah.
one of them is the fact that you can barter without that you can barter. I mean, it serves in this sense of being able to barter without having to, for example, if you do me a favor, I give you like a bunch of free rentals at my video store.
Right.
And then you owe me some beer at the bar. But
Right.
then like maybe I need something else. Like maybe I need some medicine or something, but
Sure.
you're not going to be able to give me that.
No.
And if I go to the pharmacy, they're not going to be like, well, Zach gave you, or you gave Zach some videos, so
Yeah.
now we're going to give you some
Can you help
medicine.
us shovel out this forklift in the back?
Yeah.
No, that's not going to happen.
Yeah. So, I mean, money does have it is an interesting,
It's pretty ugly.
it can be, but it doesn't have to. There's no real fundamental necessary reason why it's ugly. You see what I'm saying? It's
Yes, I do.
I mean, if I do you a favor, you do me a favor, and that it's really kind of like how
Oh,
do
no,
you
I agree.
exchange favors?
I mean, actually, literally, it's like not very pleasing aesthetically.
Oh, visually.
yeah,
right.
like aesthetically, it's not very.
Well, I think
a lot of
that
people,
gets into
disagree with that.
that gets into the kind of the public art realm where
Sure.
public art just tends to not be, it has to please everyone, and
Yeah.
so you end up kind of not pleasing anyone with
right
it or
right.
something.
Yes, yeah. That's definitely a problem that happens a lot. Maybe I'm gonna grab this laptop right here.
Oh, sure.
Keep telling me about that.
So anyway, I have a lot of thoughts about barter economy and so on, and about money. If I wasn't involved right now in starting the radio station, I probably would be working on starting a local currency, but I just can't. It would be too much to handle.
What would the currency look like if you were to create such a currency?
Well, I had an idea where I would put something in the currents where it would be almost like a blank
Yes.
bill, and people could then draw the front, the back of 4 possible bills, and they would be the equivalent of $1, the equivalent of a 5, the equivalent of a 10, and the equivalent of a 20.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had this idea that it might be kind of interesting to have children design the lowest currency, like the $1 bill.
Yes.
And then have so then bring that to like the schools or something.
Sure.
And then you could have people not only design the currency, like say someone designs a really great front, but then someone else might think of something like, okay, yeah, you'd have this other thing where it would be like, what would be an iconic River West thing? So then like that would be maybe just say someone's not an artist, but they want to get involved in designing the currency. They could say like, well, it should have this building because this building was the first River West building, or it should have this person because this person
sort of
is
historical
famous, this
significance.
historical person, or it should have this bird or this insect. So it could be things like that, suggestions of the name of the currency. In other words, I would like to put it out as a public call for the artwork, but then what I'd like to do is then bring that back and then bring that to another level of having it really done like very well by very skilled artists. And it would be different, like each one would be different, but it could have elements that are very naive in it while at the same time exuding a kind of professionalism about the print style.
Right. Be nice to get a bunch of kids to draw money.
Yeah, I think kid drawings would be great
for money.
for part of the current. I think that if it was all kids drawing, it wouldn't be good, but if it had
Yeah.
elements of kids drawings, in
there.
the currency.
Some
I think
sort of-
that could be kind of neat.
Some sort of amalgamation of some kind.
And I think it would be fun if it was very colorful and
Yeah.
if the currency itself was a work of art. Like I would almost want it to be kind of like a Paul Drucke type of project, where
Yeah.
it's like you're doing public art through this paper currency. The paper
Right.
currency would be public art.
Sure.
And people would cherish the paper currency itself and look at it and hold it and kind of like covet it because
Right.
it's like, wow, these are really cool to look at. I
Yes.
love looking at these. I love looking at the River West money. I just like looking at it.
That's
So
a neat idea.
that's a high bar to try to meet, but that's where I would go with the design of the currency.
That's really exciting. Give us a call, 935-2951, if you have any ideas for inventing a new currency or system of bartering. You're just considering that. I really think that's really charming, just looking at this stream screen and seeing the handwritten phone line
Yeah.
935.
And if this lights up,
2951.
that means
We
I'm
want you to
going
treat your internet like a phone today. So please give us a call.
Yeah.
I was going to do a quick interview with Zav here.
Okay.
They're kind of unconventional interviews, but bear with us. Okay, so here's my intro to the interview, just for our listeners who don't know. Zav Leplay comes to the bar dressed in a regular guy windbreaker and looking much more scruffy and handsome, charming, rakish, ne'er-do-well, with a pirate-like mustache and goatee. Than he ever lets himself look in his movies. His English accent hits a sweet spot on the higher edge of working class with a hint of the warm burr of his native Wales. He orders a Stella and expresses polite concern about the noise level and the tape recorder that we have here. But within minutes, it becomes blindingly clear that he'd be much happier asking the questions than answering them. Whoa. Okay. Like a lot of artists, Sav, you say that you dislike examining your choices. Is that true, and in what way?
Yes. Well, I'm not sure. I was starting to talk with my Wales accent.
That's pretty good. Keep going with that.
Do I do that? I feel as though I don't. That I do. Question. Wait. Say the question again.
You've said before that you dislike examining your choices in a film.
Okay.
You like being given the.
I guess I don't like revisiting my work. It makes me uncomfortable. It makes me anything. I kind of realized at a certain point that anything I make, no matter how good it is, I generally dislike after I've made it.
Sure.
It's just something about my personality. I don't know if that's just a mechanism, like a kind of a mechanism to get me to do other work, or if it's just part of my personality, like some kind of insecurity. I'm better at it now. I actually do. I am able to say like, oh, I've got a show tomorrow. You should come see it and you're going to like it. It's actually pretty good. I do actually say that kind of thing nowadays. But when I look at my work in retrospect, I tend to not like what I do. So that might be kind of answer your question.
Okay. So you want to be perceived accurately, but you also don't want to give any details. You realize that those two things contradict each other. Is that what you're saying?
I don't know if they contradict each other as much as that I like to leave things. I mean, by leaving things to people's imaginations a little bit,
Yes.
they are able to, I don't, too much revelation or too much revealing. Revelation is probably the wrong word.
No.
Too much revealing is, I find, is often you're in some ways. Some of the best things are left to people's interpretation. And
Yes.
so to sit down and kind of make everything concrete.
Like this interview.
Yeah. To make everything concrete it's a little stifling to the genesis
Sure.
of things, I guess.
Yeah. And you don't want to talk about your personal life or family background either.
I just don't really see much relevance. I think that people like to kind of like what we were talking about with you earlier, this thing of cult of personality that
Right.
that it's like groupieism or whatever. I'm not really interested in being scrutinized in that way because that's not what's interesting about what I do.
Why not?
It's ordinary.
Why not?
Because everyone could be. I mean, you could talk about any person on the street and have a similar kind of like outcome. What's special about what I do is my work. So I'd rather people focus on that.
But
And-
that's not really true. If you really disappeared into your role, people wouldn't realize it was the same guy from movie to movie.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's impossible. That even with some of the greatest actor or the most versatile actors, you always are thinking of that actor and their background and who they are and where they come
Yeah.
from.
Yeah.
At least what you know of that. In my case, maybe it's a little less so, less diverse. But I think that whenever I'm acting, I want people to believe what they're seeing, and I think people do suspend their disbelief, and they
Sure.
do think I am. There's a part of you
They
that's,
think you're Zav,
right.
is what
but
you're saying.
They think I'm Zav, but at the same time, they think I'm the character I'm playing
That you're
at that
playing.
moment.
Both at the same time. That's interesting. Has anybody in the movie business ever lied to you?
Oh, that's what they do. That's the movie business.
But you're still in the movie business, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, first of all, this is something that I've noticed with the art world as well, is that the art world is artificial. It's an incredibly artificial world with lots of it's kind of like the Emperor's New Clothes. But that is an art. There's an art to that. And it's the same thing with the artifice of cinema. It's all about fiction. It's all about telling tales. It's all about lying. It's an embellished version of lying. So yeah, I mean, in a sense, the two are mutually inextricable.
I know you don't like interviews so much, but I want to say there was something really sweet about Dickie, even though he's a crackhead.
I think I've spent a lot of time recently with the Occupy movement in Milwaukee, and literally living at the Occupy with people, and some of these friends of mine are genuinely homeless people. Some of them actually do crack, have smoke crack on a regular basis, and so on. And it really bears no. I think it's almost a stigma of ours to think that because someone does crack, they're not human or something. Of course they're human.
Yeah.
They're very human people.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, I mean, I find that alcoholics often are people who have a lot of sensitivity or are very tuned into things. And I think I think a lot of substance abusers are people who are actually they're medicating their emotions and their feelings. And so, of course, people like that have there's all kinds of feelings to feel about a person,
So what's with all the darkness and the miserable characters and the guilt in your roles?
Well, I think that, that's generally true in narrative, that we want to talk about what is complicated, what is hard to figure out. I think that you wouldn't have many narrative. You wouldn't have many stories if they were all stories where nothing went wrong or where nothing got dark. But I like to think that there's also light in all of that you create light through dark and dark through light. That it's the balance of life, and that's what's represented in storytelling.
Can you be more specific?
Well, well, just that being that dark. For example, in certain films, or in real life, you go through really hard times. I personally am going through a difficult moment right now in my personal life, and it's the most intense when your life hits bottom and you have a really hard things that you go through. You feel as though you're in a Shakespeare play. You feel as though you're in a theater because it's so intense and so much what those writers are really bringing you to. And so
Look at Scorsese's. He's all over his movies.
right, that's perfect example. I think that's a good example. I'm not a big fan of Scorsese, but yeah.
You were this way when you were 13, so it must be an instinctive reaction that goes deeper than any of your explanations. Is that right?
Could you repeat the question? I'm sorry. I'm just good. I need
You
to-
were this way when you were 13, so
Right.
it must be an instinctive reaction that goes deeper than any of your explanations, right?
Yeah, who I am is what I portray. You know, I mean, who I am is, you know, the thing that comes across. I can't be, when that age, that formative age,
Yeah.
plays a huge role in what I do all the time, all the time.
Do you want to speak with Dickie?
I believe that when I played Dickie, I was tapping into things that exist in me, but I also am tapping into things that I observe in other people that I somehow can like connect with, and I
So
hope
you
that-
don't want to have a conversation with Dickie.
well, it's just the way you phrase the question, I guess.
Okay. I just want to remind our callers it is 935-2951. That was an interview with movie star Zav Leplay, a very famous movie star. It is 4:46. We don't have a lot of time left, so make sure you consider giving us a call. We're having a
Yeah.
ball in here today.
Yeah. On this rainy afternoon.
Very, very rainy afternoon. Moms, you're driving home from work right now.
Yeah.
Call us. Have the kids call us. We don't mind either way.
Yeah.
But what do you think will be a possible outcome to the constant back and forth going on about the I can't think of the guy's name now. Oh, I can't think of it. He was really, really, really popular.
Uh-huh.
And he was really famous, and then he killed his wife. Oh yeah, OJ.
Oh, what do I think will
About OJ.
What do I think about OJ? And wow, this is almost tougher than the Dickie questions.
That interview
More out of left
inspired me,
field.
sort of.
Well,
Tell me OJ and you.
I don't. Yeah,
What was happening to you during OJ?
Well, it's interesting to see fallen heroes. You know,
The
I
white
remember when
Bronco.
OJ used to jump over suitcases in
Sure
those
did.
TV commercials, and I
Yep.
just thought, you know, and then you had OJ the orange juice, but then OJ the football player,
Yeah.
and he just seemed to be, you know. You see these people and you think that you don't think they could ever do wrong or something, you know.
Yeah,
and he,
it's
like,
true.
You know, he completely turned that one around on us.
Well, there's
you know,
there's
all
a
that
great Eileen Miles
insecurity.
poem that has the line in it, "The famous, as we all know, are nuts," which is really true. I mean, I just assume in a weird way after a while that like anyone who's really, really successful or some kind of icon is just batty, just frickin' nuts.
Yeah, well, that's funny because Eileen Miles is kind of famous.
Yeah, she is, I suppose. Yeah,
She's famous in the poetry world, right?
Sure. Yeah,
Uh,
I guess there's lots of worlds you can be famous
Yeah.
in.
Yeah, I think I'm insane in some
Yeah.
ways. I think I'm borderline insane.
Really?
And, yeah, in certain
interesting.
ways. In certain ways, I feel like I'm insane.
Because I've never gotten that from you. I've never looked like. I don't think Zav knows what. Like he could lose control at any minute. You always seem to be very. In
Yeah, but look at the
control.
world I'm in. Look at what surrounds me here.
This is
I mean,
true.
this is just bizarre. You know what I mean? Yeah,
This
it's like-
store, you mean
It's
specifically?
kind of bizarre. I shouldn't say it's totally bizarre, but it's kind of bizarre.
Yeah.
You know,
It
I,
is
I
weird.
live in very not extremely traditional ways, but I live in an untraditional manner.
Yes.
If I was okay, here's how I am insane: is that if you took me
Yes.
and put me into a traditional role and made me just behave according to sort of the status quo,
Yes.
then you would see that I'm insane. But because I've carved out a niche for myself and I'm
You
able
don't have to
kinda
deal
just
with
do
any
things my own way,
other. Right.
yeah, then I come across as sort of having
That's not
stability,
exactly
which I guess is stable. I mean, it is stable. I'm stable if I'm in my own sort of.
But you've off and on maintained teaching classes at UWM. That's sort of a system that you have
Oh.
to really sort of.
There's
lock
all kinds of
into.
insane people working at UWM.
I guess you're right.
I mean, all kinds of people are completely.
See, I like to listen to Mark Belling and other right-wing talk radio personalities that are on at the same time because, as I've said before, I like to be reminded that maybe I'm not insane. Maybe everyone else is insane.
Well, I think we live in an insane world.
People
Especially
call
now.
in and agree to some things on there that remind me deep down in my heart that the person that's like holding down on his horn in the parking lot and screaming at another man, that we're surrounded by people who are insane, who are allowed to be our bosses and to father our sisters' children and do all sorts of things.
Yeah.
And they still do everything they're supposed to do.
Right.
You do what you're supposed to do and you're freaking insane.
I mean, the truth, my real feeling is actually that there's no such thing as crazy.
Yes.
It's
There's
just like I
only
don't think
levels
there's.
of states of
I've
consciousness.
often said there's no such thing as trash.
Yeah.
I don't believe in trash, and I don't believe in crazy. I think that everything has a place. Everything has a.
Nothing is garbage.
There's no such thing. I mean, if you go in the woods, take a walk in the woods are littered with leaves and dead.
Anything
tree,
could be
all kinds of
used.
things, but nothing is trash. Everything is part of the woods. There is no trash. There's no garbage in the woods unless someone comes there with something from outside, something from the sort of like from this hyper modernized
Yes.
human civilization world, and then they bring it
Yes.
and drop it in that environment. Then it seems to have, but even then it's not trash.
Yeah.
Even that is nature. It's just nature. It's just hyper nature. Even like a toxic waste dump filled with nuclear
Right.
waste is
Yeah.
still not trash.
No.
It all belongs. It's just some things are more at harmony with their environment, and other things are less at
Discord.
harmony. And
Right.
so, I would definitely be like not at harm. I am not at in harmony with the status quo. But neither is someone from the status quo in Thailand at harmony with the status quo in Kenosha.
Sure.
You know,
Right. And the status quo in Kenosha is pretty hard line to toe, let me tell you.
Yeah. I mean, you know, the idea of maybe
Kenosha.
walking barefoot or like taking off your shoes when you walk in the house would be considered outrageous in Kenosha.
Nuts.
In a normal
just nuts.
Kenosha house.
Or the idea of leaving your door unlocked or not shutting the door properly.
Right. Or not wearing deodorant.
Not wearing deodorant at all. Maybe
Having
even
fish smell in the house.
letting your
Like,
car door barely work is just insane. That's nuts.
right.
That's nuts. How could you not do that? You've got to take that thing in.
Right.
God, I
Not
hear it in my
throwing out-
sleep.
Not throwing out all that stuff.
That stuff.
I mean, like I separate my garbage a bunch. I'm like a
Why
kind
don't
of
you just lose the crap?
I'm
Yeah.
kind of OCD about separating my garbage.
Yes.
Because of this philosophy I have that
Yes.
there's no such thing
Nothing
as
is
trash.
garbage. What would you do with a ton of empty DVD cases?
I would be kind of at a loss. I would probably maybe
Yeah.
try to sell them or give them away to someone before I would throw them in the garbage.
I wonder if you could. Maybe we could fit books in them. Then they'd really be trash.
That's a hard. Yeah, that's the thing. Sometimes you get lucky, and like
Yeah.
I use my junk mail as scrap paper a lot of times.
Oh yeah.
You know, stuff like
Sure.
that. But,
Right.
But that kind of. Oh, we have a caller.
Wonderful.
Do you want me to answer, or do you want to answer?
Why don't you take this one?
Okay. Oh, we might have lost them. Hello, caller. Oh, they probably got voicemail, but they'll call back. I'm sure.
Oh, that's too bad.
They probably got voicemail, but they'll call back in a second. Probably.
I think we had a couple calls we might have missed today.
Yeah, we've probably
we
been.
were having
missing
too
a few
much fun
calls.
with those interviews.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, I want to remind our callers to give us a call and that we will be here every Thursday starting at 4. Please call us in with anything
Right.
on your mind, any issues, anything you want to talk about. I'm not really good with childcare questions, but we do have an internet near us or some other oracle. And if you want to call the question, we can call
here's
someone
a call.
else.
Here's a caller.
Great. Hello, caller.
Hi, this is Carl, and I'm in River West.
This is Carl, and he's in River West.
Yeah, great.
Yes, Carl.
Yeah, I was wondering if you could talk more about Eileen Miles and Mark Belling.
Oh, okay. Carl would like for us to talk more about Eileen Miles and Mark Belling. Do you want to take your answer off the air?
I would love to, yes.
Okay.
Super. Well, if we're going to be talking about Eileen Miles and Mark Belling, I think that we're going to end up talking about politics, and that's going to be a whole nother can of worms. Eileen Miles ran for the presidency, I believe.
Oh,
Mark
yeah.
Belling never ran for a local office, as far as I know. The other odd thing about Mark Belling, unlike Eileen Miles, there's lots of pictures of her on the internet. I've checked; they're all over. There's a lot of them. She looks great. There's not a lot of pictures of the modern day Mark Belling, popular radio conservative host.
He got
seems
a
to be
strange
modest.
face, though, right? Doesn't he have a strange? Or am I thinking of the other
Some
guy?
might say
Charlie
strange.
Sykes. One of them has a
Char-
strange face.
Perhaps they have a strange face. The pictures exist. It just seems as though he's a little bit harder to find on the internet. If anybody has any pictures of Mark Belling having fun at parties, whatever, you can send them to me at zdpieper, P-I-E-P-E-R, that's zdpieper at gmail.com. If you have any pictures of Mark Belling, I'd love to have them because I can't find them on the internet.
Are they? Would you say they're both opinionated and bellicose?
Interesting. I think that Eileen Miles is... I don't know if opinionated is the right word for her. I don't really know her personally. I met her once. She's a nice lady. Her reading style is really chatty and very, very Boston chatty, very East Coast, very fast, lightning fast. Mark Belling's style orally is... He really's got a lot of silences. I love those silences with his guy, this call screener producer Paul. I love the long silences, and then you just hear him go, Paul. I kind of like that. There's a musical quality to it.
Yeah, there is a musical quality, and I think that musical quality is a studied one
Yes, absolutely.
that you see with a lot of those talk show people.
Maybe-
We should study that. We
Maybe
should learn
could
about that.
or figure out a way to do it.
You know, that's what we should do. We should introduce into our show pauses and pace that we've never tried. You know?
Oh,
That might
think
be
about
interesting.
this a little more musically.
Yeah. That would be a good idea.
That works a lot better when you're making an argument, though, when you have a lot to say and you're getting to the argument and you've made the point and you're driving it home and you're saying, I don't understand how these teachers could want more than they already have. Paul. Sav.
I think we're onto something here.
Yeah, I like this.
And I'm sorry that we're talking shop.
Yeah,
while
we
on
are
air.
kinda talking shop.
But
We want you to see
why
all
should I be
sides of
sorry?
it.
Why should I
Yeah.
be sorry?
No,
we're not,
let's-
yeah. We're
absolutely
not worried
don't be
about
sorry.
anything.
No apologies on
Yeah,
Hello
I've
Caller.
got too much to worry about.
Yes. Do you really?
Oh yeah,
Oh, no.
I've got a
Well.
lot to worry about.
Oh, you have a lot to worry about. That's no good.
Oh, it's okay. It's life.
It is. It is life.
Um,
This was probably our last chance for a call. If anybody wants to give us a call, I want to remind you, don't make it a pity call. We are having a blast here. It's
Yeah.
935-2951. Don't be fooled by the sweetness of that beautiful looking image you're seeing there streaming of just the phone number.
you know what?
written in hand.
I'm gonna turn it to see you now. There
Hello,
you go.
callers. We're nearing the end, and I just want to remind you that you can give us a call. You should give us a call. I like to think that we're kind of spending our time with you, even though we're kind of talking amongst ourselves and verbally digressing.
Now, oh no. Do you talk with people about philosophy or like about literature? Who do you talk with about literature?
Literature?
Yeah, who do you
I
talk
talk
to the most about literature?
I mostly myself, I would say. I argue with myself a lot.
Who are your sort of like companions?
Literary companions. Well, I'd like to
in
think
Milwaukee.
there's a lot of literary companions that I feel I have that I've never met before, but probably Michael Hauser is a great poet. I would say that, yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of good poets around here in town. But I can't think of all the people I'd want to name right now. Since we are broadcasting live, I don't want to leave anyone out.
Do you have a poem that you can do off the top of your head of your own?
Yes, I do. I just wrote this poem this morning, and it goes, proposal. I want to put a podium in every factory so we can sigh really loudly, you guys.
Wow, I like that. So what was the What was the image? What brought the image to your mind? How did you arrive at writing this poem?
I liked it in the factories when the radio station, usually playing Dancing in the Moonlight, was interrupted, and what would happen is that someone would be like, John, 4516 to the office, George. John, you need to move this 1437. We gotta go to 3745, John. John.
Well, that's enough. That's the end of our show.
And I liked that. And then it occurred to me that yeah, that was great.
Sorry.
It's all right.
I'm sorry. We are at the end of our show.
Oh, good. That was a good one.
But let's pick up on that. We'll talk about that more next.
Yes, let's go into
and
that.
actually, you know what? I'm going to stop recording.